And we are live. The When Soon show returns.
It's a When Soon Wednesday, just to switch it up, just because it rhymes. When Soon Wednesday. I gotta unmute in the Discord. We're unmuted on the When Soon Wednesday.
When Soon Wednesday. Yeah, I just unmuted in the Discord, and then I got an earful of the music bot. I think it's still.
Oh, I didn't catch any of it.
It's still rocking out. I'm sure Eric's about to pause it.
I don't get because I'm deafened. I'm deafened in the
Jammer.
I'm deafened in the When Soon room.
Let me put this announcement out.
Missing out on all the Jamie jams. I can't undeafen myself anyway. Can I? Oh yeah, here I go.
Oh, I think you turned it off right when you unmuted or undeafened. Sorry.
Nope, I can't undeafen anyway. You'd have to do it for me. No tunes for the cat. All
none.
good. All good.
I just you should be able to deafen and undeafen now.
Yes. That's
You know, I get that too. I think you're having the same thing I get, where
you're gonna have to deafen me because now I'm getting like you coming through my speakers as well. It's a hot mess.
Here's what you should do. Click on my name in Discord, or right click on my name.
Okay.
And then you see user volume.
Oh yeah.
You see it? Turn it all the way down.
That works
now you
too.
should be good. Yeah, because I have the same thing where you can't deafen and be unmuted at the same time, you know? So
yeah. Well, I mean, you could have just
so what I do is I just user mute.
You could have just left me deafened because it's all good.
Either way.
But yeah, that works.
But at least now you can hear the music.
Yes, I will be able to hear the music.
Where's that threadcast? Here it is. Video growth. There we go. Threadcast. All right, the announcements are out. We are ready. All right. Looks like our audio is all good. All right, guys. Welcome back. I've just dropped the link to the threadcast again.
All the announcements. This has got to be entertaining to watch on YouTube. It's like we go live and then like the first 5 minutes is getting situated on Discord and whatnot. Yeah. It's like anyone that watches on YouTube, it's like, yep, just fast forward to like the 3-minute mark.
Right.
Like as a regular habit.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. At least in the recordings and the post, we delete that part, so people don't have to.
There you go.
If you watch the recordings, you usually don't have to sit through all that.
Even better.
I'm just reading the When Soon brief. You got anything for us to kick off with? We'll cat recap.
Sure. Let me silence my phone as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's always things popping off in the LeoVerse. So, I know that, well, I mean, we can obviously touch on, and, you know, it's funny because we have the results as opposed to being live during LPUD day, which just happened to fall, you know, on a Tuesday, which hasn't happened in a hot minute. So, yeah, LPUD. The latest LPUD was yesterday, and we had a new record in terms of number of Lions and Cubs that powered up, at least 50 Leo. So it's good. See the participation continue to increase. I think like 100K total Leo was powered up, which is always a nice chunk. So LPUD just continuing to kick butt. And I saw, much to, I guess, the Leo disappointment, the DHF marketing proposal has fallen below the threshold. It's 7% below. So I guess I don't know what, like, I'm curious if the threshold went up or if the number of votes went down, if people pulled some of their votes, or maybe a whale changed their mind or something. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the we're
Rock the
7%
vote.
below. 7% below. But yeah, it's been majorly from the DHF bar. Basically, if you don't know, I saw that some people don't know this. But if you don't know, there's basically a return proposal on the DHF. And you can see it if you just go to that, DHF page on Peakty or ECNC. And that return proposal is basically the minimum bar for getting funded. So if you want your proposal to be funded, you have to stay above that bar. So it's not just something where like you get funded, and at one point Leo was 100% funded, and the bar I think was like 22 million Hive power that you needed to be funded, and the bar for getting funded is now 20. Let me see, just pull up the exact number. The bar for getting funded is 26,500,000 now. So the bar has basically increased by like 4 million Hive power.
Pretty big move in a matter of just like a month or so.
Yeah. Well, and there's been some campaigning to increase the bar, which is fair enough. It's decentralized funding. That's the point, is that people get to have a say with their stake and decide what should and shouldn't be funded. And there is a lot of debate over funding and where funding should be going on Hive. And if that bar were to get raised another like 8 million, you would see, or I guess if it were to get raised another 10 million, you would see basically more than half of the current DHF proposals not funded. So they would all move below the funding bar.
That's interesting. So I'm clearly not, I never really looked into it. So I guess it's based on assumption, but so based on that, then I'm assuming like funding on any DHF proposal isn't like a lump sum thing. I'm assuming it's a payment plan. Because
yeah,
otherwise
exactly.
It would be like, once you cross the threshold, you get paid, and then it doesn't matter if you continue to stay above. So basically I got to assume broken into payments, and then you receive those payments as long as you stay above the threshold. And if you go below the threshold, then like those payments would stop.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that the DHF funding is like a constant thing. So you pick an amount to get funded per day. And every day that you're above the threshold, you receive the amount that you're asking for. And if you are below that threshold for any of the days, you aren't receiving any funding. So, if your proposal is, let's just say 365 days long, it's 1 year. Let's say that, you're constantly kind of battling the line of that minimum bar. So like, let's say that, for a month you're above the bar. That means that for that month you're getting, and let's say you're asking for $100 a day. For that month, you're getting $100, 100 HPD per day. And then let's say that after the first month, you fall below the bar for a month. So now for that next month, you're receiving nothing. And then let's say that you fight your way back up, and then you get above the bar again in month 3, then you start getting the daily payouts again. So it's like a variable thing. Like, you have to stay above that bar if you want to keep getting funding. So, it's not just get above the funding line and then you're good. type of thing. So this is like a constant campaign that we have to be running to stay above that line. And when we set out with the DHF proposal, and we've been saying this in multiple places, that our goal, even before the DHF bar was raised from 22.5 million to 26.5 million, we were saying that we wanted to hit 30 million in supported votes, because we want to have like a nice cushioning. We don't want to be like constantly fighting with that line. So, we want to get like overwhelming support and get above that line and get to like 30 million. So our goal is still to get 30 million plus in support. And if you look at the proposal, it's just steadily climbing. So, I think I looked at it yesterday and it was like we've got 24.9 million voting us now. And I think yesterday we had like 24.7. So it's just like, we grew 200,000 Hive power in support overnight. And, we keep campaigning, keep putting out tweets, keep putting out, threads and posts. And then, I think one of the most helpful things has been that a lot of people in the community, you guys are making posts and you're telling other people on Hive, and you're in other Hive Discords, and you're telling people to read the proposal and gain an understanding of it. And, if you think that it's a good idea to grow the Hive user base, then to support the proposal. So I've noticed that that's like the number one way that we've been getting more votes, is by having you guys, the community, go out and tell other people in the Hive community about the proposal and why you think it's a good or bad idea. So we've got this week. So for the past week, Eric and I have been working on a bunch of docs, basically, that will go with the proposal. And it kind of just dives into more detailed plans on everything related to, how we're going to market Leo and get new users onboarded to Hive. So we've got like, that original DHF proposal that we posted is like 5,000 words. It could have easily been like 30,000 or 50,000 words. Like, we've got so much documentation, so many plans, and so much research that we've done, and market research and all sorts of stuff to nail down a really solid roadmap for getting these users. So I'm extremely excited, to get this, marketing initiative like off the ground. And, come September 1st, when the proposal is officially live, because it's the start date of the proposal is September 1st. So, even while we were over the funding line, we were over it for like a week. We didn't receive anything because it's upcoming, right? So it's not starting until September 1st. So before September 1st, we want to hit that 30 million threshold. We want to have a nice cushioning between us and that return proposal. So, we're going to need your help, but I think we can do it and get over that 30 million line before September 1st. And then September 1st, that day is when the funding starts hitting. So it's, like 495 HBD per day. And then we're gonna hit the ground running on a lot of different marketing initiatives. So that's, and like I said, throughout this week, we're gonna start posting, one at a time. We're gonna start posting all these docs, and you're gonna see, exactly what the plans are and how this is all gonna work to onboard new users. But we're really confident that we're gonna more than double the Hive user base. We're extremely confident about it. And like I said, and we've said in multiple places, this is like a no risk investment for Hive, because either we onboard, in our minimum threshold that we set is 9,615 new Hive users. So that's monthly active users. It's not just like new accounts. It's people that are, because I'm sure we're going to onboard like 30,000 new accounts, and like, 9,000 of them stay, right? So those are monthly active users that keep coming back to Hive, not just to Leo, but to Hive, all Hive apps. And we're going to be working with Hive apps to get them to integrate Leo Infra, and then also, educate the people that we onboard about all the different opportunities on Hive. Because a big way that we're going to frame this is we're going to be getting people interested in Hive through Leo and through threads. We get them to post a few pieces of content, we get them to earn some crypto, and we get them interested. And then we start to feed them information about how Hive works and how they can, take their Web3 activities to the next level. And if you look around Twitter and other places, there is a lot of interest in how you can earn crypto. That's like probably the biggest thing in crypto, is how to earn it. But there is a huge lack of education about what's available on Hive. And what is available on Hive is that anybody can earn crypto. There's really no minimum entry like threshold. Like, like we were just talking about how there's a minimum threshold for the DHF. On a lot of other platforms, there's a minimum threshold for earning, any sort of revenue. So like on Twitter, this is like the big conversation now. The minimum threshold, I think, is like 10 million impressions per month is what your tweets have to get before you can start earning ad revenue checks from Twitter. So I mean, that's a huge bar. And what a lot of people are pissed off about is that it's like, okay, make the rich richer in terms of like people who have rich audience engagement, just give them all the money and the little guy gets nothing. Which is kind of anti the stance that a lot of people think that Elon was taking when he took over Twitter. So the cool thing about Hive is that there's no minimum threshold. You can just come here, make an account, and start posting blogs, start posting threads, start leaving comments on popular authors' posts. You can start playing Splinterlands. You can start using ActiFit. You can start learning about Hive Engine. Like there's like so many. The number of things that you can do on Hive to earn crypto is ridiculous. So we want to bring people in, get them interested enough that we can start to kind of piecemeal and feed them a little bit more information at a time. And then, keep them around and say, okay, you can use threads and start earning some crypto. Then you can, go to ActiFit. And if you're like big into fitness, you can start using ActiFit and you can earn more crypto. Or if you like to game, you can use Splinterlands and you can earn even more crypto. So we want to kind of like get these people in and get them interested in being engaged on the chain. At the end of the day, there's a lot of different routes that this goes. But at the end of the day, I believe, and this has been my long-term belief in Hive, that as the user base grows and we start to use more and more data on the chain, so you start to store more data, that's where Hive is going to get all of its value in the long run. That's my opinion about how Hive works. I don't know if everybody agrees with that, but I've been a big believer in the resource credit system and how eventually, not right now, but eventually, when there's enough users, that resource credit system is going to be incredibly expensive to use. And it's going to be used primarily by applications like us, Splinterlands, 3Speak, and others. And when your users want to store data, you're going to need to own Hive Power to give them the resource credits they need. So that's been my belief about Hive for a really long time. And, as someone who holds a lot of Hive, and I hold a lot of Hive and I hold a lot of HBD, I want to see this ecosystem grow. So I believe that getting these users in is the key. And, I've been waiting years for this moment, which is to have threads live, to have a really good product. And when that product is really good, I've long known that we would be able to onboard users. And it's been, years in the making to get here. So
yeah, at the end
I'm
of the day,
excited for what everything means.
User growth is key, because it doesn't matter. You can build the most awesome thing in the world, but if no one's coming to the party, then it's just chilling. I mean, case in point, that's how things that are even like kind of crappy become popular, in that it's, for some reason, it just got viral and, got a big user base. So user base is key. You can have the best product in the world, but if no one's buying it or using it, then who gives a damn? So yeah, focus is always on user growth. Speaking of growth, Leo inflation has dropped, right? Pretty big since the change back in May with the tokenomics.
Yeah, so there was a big change back in May where rather than the Leo.voter delegators getting paid from the bounties fund, which was, inflationary Leo, we switched over to buying Leo and using it to pay the delegators. So we actually went from, there's about 25,000 Leo per day in inflation to now about 5,000 to 6,000 per day. And then on top of that, the delegators are getting paid about 7,000 Leo a day right now. So we're actually buying more Leo per day than is being created through inflation. And if you look at the price of Leo since May 1st, it's like it went up a lot right away, and it's really like stabilized. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, there's like 5,000 new Leos being created per day, and then about 7,000 are getting actually bought from the market and then sent to delegators. So we've kind of created a little bit of a circular economy because I think at least half of the delegators just sell the Leo that they get. So if you think about, kind of how that is working like mechanically, we're buying like 7,000 Leo and then 3,500 hits the market again each day. And then, 5,000 is the inflation rate. So it's created kind of a very stable ecosystem. But we have noticed that a lot of the Leo is kind of, if you look at the flow of Leo, the amount of Leo getting staked is still increasing. And, like you said, in yesterday's LPUD, there was 100,000 Leo staked. So and we have a pretty similar number to that every month. I actually think this, we're kind of always above that 100,000 bar, but if you look at that, that's 100,000 Leo is 3,333 Leo per day for 30 days. So it's almost the monthly inflation of Leo itself. So almost all the inflation is basically getting staked. If you look at what's being staked throughout the month and then what's being staked every LPUD. So, the amount of Leo being staked keeps increasing. And then obviously, the inflation rate went from 25,000 Leo a day to 5,000. And then now the delegators we're actually buying the Leo each day for them. So we've created a really nice situation for Leo here, which is why I think we see a lot of price stability since May 1st. And then Eric was saying that we've, a big focus for LPUD has been changing it from you have to stake like a certain amount of like 150 Leo to being 50 Leo is the minimum now. And his goal is to get more accounts. So it's more unique accounts getting involved as opposed to getting them to stake more Leo. And the idea there is that, and this is something that, people have talked about on Hive for a really long time, is to spread the stake to, minnows and dolphins. That's kind of like always been like the thing on Hive is like, if you can spread the stake out, it creates a much more healthy economy. So that's definitely something we're seeing on Leo. If you just think about it subjectively and you think about threads and, think about the accounts that you see regularly and who's staking Leo. You're seeing a lot of new faces. You're seeing a lot of faces from Hive, a lot of people that are staking Leo that never did before. So the stake on Leo has really spread out and, there's a lot less stake in the whales and a lot more stake in like, minnows and dolphins. So, I think that's a really good focus point for LPUD each month is like, we're trying to get, the average person involved in LPUD and spread that stake out. And Eric's doing a really good job of that.
Nice. Sounds like decentralization.
Exactly. It does.
So obviously, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's curious. And I didn't even get to participate because somehow it fell through my radar. And then I was just crazy busy the last 2 days leading up to the deadline. But the rebrand, new name, initiative / contest, at the end of the day, did anyone come up with anything that is actually being considered? And if so, then will there be a winner of the rebrand contest, or will there be another round? I know the rebrand consists of multiple things. It's not just thinking of a name. It's also thinking of a name where, the URL is available as one, major roadblock, so to speak, amongst other things. So I don't know. What's any kind of update on that?
Yeah, we got like over 300 comments and suggestions with names to rebrand. So, I think whenever you rebrand something, especially something that's been around for a while, like when Elon did it for Twitter and rebranded Twitter to X, there was a huge pushback. But slowly you're starting to see more and more people say
X is dumb.
Yeah. Well, and you'll always have both sides. And
although, wait, hold on, Cal. You know what? I actually stand corrected. It's genius because now he has the ultimate anthem theme song, and he can just bump DMX, and
X gonna give it to
X
you.
gonna give it to you. So maybe Elon's actually a genius.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Too
he's
bad he
had
beat
that
us
vision
to it.
for X. Yeah, he's had that vision for X since the PayPal days. That was
Yeah.
originally what he wanted PayPal to become.
That's probably
Um,
why. That's probably half the reason it was renamed, just because he's like, all right, I finally have an opportunity to name something X, and I'm going to do it.
yeah. Um, so yeah, the rebranding, it's always going to get a lot of pushback. So people are familiar with Leo and LeoFinance, and I think it's just going to be hard to. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be long-term beneficial. So in the beginning, I think there's going to be a lot of like confusion, and people are going to have to get used to it. But we've rebranded before. We actually were Steam Leo back, when
Yeah.
we originally launched, and then
Oh yeah, I'm not
obviously we
sweating
turned
it.
into
I mean,
Leo
listen,
Finance.
the reality is really like rebranding to Threads was probably a decent move, but then Zuck basically stole your thunder. So now it's like, all right,
Yeah,
got to come up with a new one because like Threads was simple. Threads works. At the same time, who knows what the reality of that was? I'm sure someone owned that domain and probably wanted crazy money for it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
we
We
should keep it.
actually
What's up?
No, we actually were, we spent a lot of time considering Threads, and it was going to be the move. For a while there, we were thinking that it was going to be the move. And we even had a domain negotiation lockdown. Um, but, a couple things. Like, first of all, obviously Zuck ended up stepping in anyways. That was after we had decided not to rebrand it Threads, but Zuck ended up stepping up and taking over that name. But the other thing was that similar to what Elon's doing with Twitter, the idea here is to build an everything app. It's not just Threads, it's not just blogging, it's not just
True.
polls or video or anything. Like it's everything. So we don't want to just call it Threads and be done with it, because then people are going to think there's no long form,
All
which
right,
is
I
kind of
got it
how it was
then.
when we launched the UI.
Sometimes, Cal, you just got to go back to simple days and simple times. So
What's that?
it all started with Craigslist. So maybe we should just go Leo list.
Leo list. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It could, because that's everything. Long
Um,
form, short form, hell, marketplace, everything. Leo
yeah,
list.
it's true. It's true. Yeah, so we do have this is like super alpha. But Eric and I were chatting last night because we've landed on a name that we think we're pretty happy with. We're not going to
Okay.
announce it yet, but
The question
but
is,
it is currently the top number one choice.
was this produced by a user, or is this something that you and Eric came up with?
So this is something that me and Eric came up with probably like
Okay.
3 months ago. And then I kind of, me and Eric kind of went back and forth about it. And I was like, I like it. I don't love it. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. So we kept it we kept it in the list and kind of kept going forward. And then obviously we launched the rebranding post last week. Um, and, uh, and you know, we need the community's feedback to figure this out, because obviously it's not an easy thing to do, and I love the name LeoFinance. I wish we could just keep it. And I saw Zaya just left a comment saying, I want to understand the necessity of rebranding. The necessity of it is that we can't just be, even if you go into the Discord channel today, this is ironic, and go into the general chat. Raymond Speaks, who runs the Bro community on Hive, was asking if it's okay to post non-finance content onto Leo's UI now. And because we added the communities feature, and then we're obviously moving towards this everything app vision. So yeah, it is now you can post anything. You don't have to post just finance or crypto stuff. You still can, and there's still the Leo Finance community page where you can do all that. So the Leo Finance is not going anywhere. That's still going to exist, but it's going to exist as a community on the everything app that we're building, as opposed to being, the parent company of everything. So the necessity of it is that we don't want to just be siloed to finance anymore. We're trying to build, this everything app where you can come here and do anything you want. Basically the Web3 version of X is really the idea here. And it has been for a really long time. I mean, if you go back to when we were talking about Project Blank, I mean, this has been the idea for over 2 years now. And we're just kind of getting to fruition on it. So, we kind of always knew that a rebrand was going to happen. So, this idea, and in the rebrand post, and you guys can still submit stuff. And if you come up with the winning idea, you're still going to obviously get the prize. That's a big deal for us. Is like if you contribute in any way to that winning idea, even if we don't use your exact idea, but if it like inspires the idea that we have, it's, you know, you'll still win.
And at the end of the day, I mean, you should probably kind of quasi split test in terms of taking, you know, the name that you and Eric like, and then maybe, you know, if there's one or two others that people came up with that, you know, you guys are considering, and then put those up for community feedback and kind of just see, you know, what gets the most votes. And obviously at the end of the day, you know, you can pull the trigger on whichever one you think is, you know, best for the branding, but it's always good just to see what gets engagement, or what, you know, what gets the people going.
Gets the people going.
Nobody knows
Yeah,
what it means.
What's
LeoFinance?
you know, I think the rebranding is going to
knows.
go down, right? I think it's going to go down like this. You know, the rebrand is going to happen. There's going to be some pushback. There's going to be some people that love it. I think, you know, I've grown to love this idea that we had. I think a big pushback for me is that I'm just really attached to that LeoFinance name.
Oh, dude. Whatever the name is, like whether like I personally like it or not, or, you know, each person likes it or not. I mean, at the same time, it's, for me, it's fine, because like, well, a rebrand needs to happen because LeoFinance makes 0 sense anymore.
Right. It's true. Well, and that's, you know, and that's a big thing that I was saying, is that LeoFinance, you know, as LeoFinance, it remains untouched. It's still going to exist. So, you know, this logo that you see right here and this name is not going anywhere. LeoFinance is still going to exist. And the vision that I set out with for LeoFinance to democratize, you know, knowledge and access to finance is still going to exist, but it's not going to exist as the parent company anymore. It's going to be like kind of the same way we have, you know, like LeoFi or LeoDex or, you know, Cub, like they're sub companies underneath the big parent umbrella company. And we're simply changing the name of the umbrella company and then moving LeoFinance underneath that umbrella. It was still the same mission for that. And like I said, instead of it being the parent of everything, it lives underneath the umbrella. And nothing's changing in terms of the token or anything. So, you know, this idea that's currently the top one is it would allow us to keep the token name and a lot of all the similar branding around lines and everything. Like, it would allow us to keep all that.
Which is probably key. Someone did ask about that.
Yeah, because, you know, changing that
token
is just going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So, like I said, I think, you know, if this ends up being the name, I think everyone's going to be very happy with it. And I also think, you know, we're going to keep the Leo token name. We're going to keep LeoFinance, but it'll be, you know, underneath that umbrella, it'll be a community as opposed to being the app name, right? We're really, at the end of the day, what are we changing? We're changing the app name and we're changing the URL. You know, nothing's changing. And, you know, I think Taskmaster commented this somewhere, that it doesn't matter what the rebrand name is, because the name is not what matters here. It's not, the value is not in our name. You know, our brand name is not, and you can look at what Elon did with Twitter and X, and the big argument against it is that Twitter was building a brand name, a world-renowned brand name for, you know, a decade. And Elon just wiped it away and said, no, I want to do X. You know, nobody knows what LeoFinance is outside of LeoFinance. So at the end of the day, you know, all we're doing is changing the name that we refer to ourselves as. And then I think, you know, the positive light to it, the positive spin, is that we're coming out with something fresh that we can then go out. And obviously there's a big reason why this coincides with the rebranding and the DHF proposal and all the marketing plans going live. A lot of things are coinciding at the same time, like the referral system, you know, Leo ads, the, you know, rebranding, the DHF proposal, like all this stuff going live at the same time is not a coincidence. It's all been planned. And all this stuff going live at the same time, the idea is now we're bringing, you know, we've built this really good product with the Leo UI, and it's about to get a lot better with LeoCache, and I'll get into that later. But we built like this really good product, and now it's time to make it fresh and then take it out into the world and onboard users. And I think a fresh brand name is going to contribute to that in a positive way, especially if we drop the finance part of the name, because the finance part probably scares off a lot of normal users that we could be getting. So, like I said, LeoFinance still exists. You still want to be a LeoFinance user. You are going to be a LeoFinance community member, but you're going to use the parent app, which will just have a new name. But the mission, the vision, it all still remains the same. So I just think it's going to take some time to get like fully used to it. But I think at the end of the day, the positives far outweigh the negatives of like having to, relearn a new name and a new URL and, all that stuff. So.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change the user experience really at the end of the day. So the UI is essentially the UI, just
yeah, it's all just a name.
Different name. Cool. There's just tons of questions flying through in the threadcast. So I'm actually down to, I think, focus on questions for like the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Unless there's any other key updates you need to get out there.
Yeah. Task just said a brand is more than just a name. In fact, that is perhaps the smallest piece of the puzzle. There's a lot more to platform brand than just what it's called. Exactly. Yeah, there's, the name of it is less relevant than the ideals of it, the community behind it, the mission statement, stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, a name is a name.
Yep, it goes back to the community and just expanding the community.
Layer zero.
What do we got for questions? Oh, this is interesting. Camo said in the previous interface, unvoting existed. I don't know. I wonder if they actually mean unvoting as opposed to downvoting. But notice that such function is no longer existing on this new UI. Is there any hope of bringing it back? I never thought.
Yeah, so if you
unvoting
on the old UI, you could click, like if you upvoted, let's say I accidentally upvoted a thread, and if I clicked it again, or let's just say a post, because threads were on the old UI for this, but let's say I upvoted a post and I didn't mean to upvote it, so I can click upvote and change it to 0% and then unvote it. That was a feature on the old UI. You can also do it, I think, on like Peak D and Ecency. But the one thing about that is that you still use voting power when you do that. So it's not like you regain your voting power back. So I think the UX, the user experience of that is not great. So we will add unvoting back in. But what I want to do is make a better UI where it says, you click to like if you want to unvote, you can click the upvote button again, and then it says, are you sure you want to unvote? You will not regain any voting power back. You're simply just taking the rewards away from what you had just voted. Like if I vote something with 40 cents and then I unvote it, it means I take back the 40 cents back to the rewards pool, but I still lost my voting power in the process. And I just want to have a dialogue that's like clear about that, because I don't think it's very clear if you do it on any UI right now. So yeah, I want to have a very clear dialogue that explains that, but we will eventually add that back.
Cool. What else? I'm assuming the price feed being wrong is because what it pulls from I already forgot the name of the damn site. CoinGecko. Yeah,
CoinGecko's had some interesting API issues lately. I know that they're aware of it and we've told them about it. And it's not just us. It's, a lot of different, especially tokens on DEXs, which is where we are listed primarily. So yeah, I know they're having a lot of API issues.
No doubt.
I saw Tokenized Society ask any update on Leo NFTs very soon. There's a lot of cool stuff happening on the NFT side of things. And Nifty is spearheading that. So you're going to see, you're about to see some crazy shit happen NFT wise. And we'll be announcing all of that in this universe.
This is an interesting question, maybe something Eric may or may not want to take on, but Simi Smiths asked if it's possible that there's like a weekly topic on which we can make content, like some kind of contest. Interesting.
A weekly contest to make content on a
Like
specific
basically
topic.
like, yeah, like a topic that basically people can make content on. I mean, I figure, it'd be something to do with, at a minimum, the Hive ecosystem, but furthermore, Leo, that'd be my opinion in terms of how that, would make sense to like do, or kind of create a win-win. But interesting question.
Yeah.
What is this? No, that's just more T talking about all the Leo tokens mooning.
Taskmaster
I need
asked,
LeoCache. I need LeoCache to come to the rescue. My threads are not loading. Just lines.
uh-oh.
Sad face.
Yeah, if you refresh, that should go away.
Okay.
It's usually just a API request to like Hive.
We talked
nodes that
about
will
LeoCache, right?
push it through. Yeah, I talked about it briefly. So Taskmaster actually asked, what are the next 3 major items being added to the platform, let's say in the next couple of months? So I'd say the biggest thing that's going to get added next is LeoCache. I know I've been talking about it for a while, and we've been working on it for a long time and spending a lot of time and resources on it. But the value of LeoCache, it's kind of hard to explain the value of LeoCache. Really the way to explain the value is to talk about what it allows and like what features it brings to the table. So basically LeoCache is like this huge back-end infrastructure update that we've been working on. But, the nitty-gritty details of it don't really explain how valuable it is to the UI and the user experience. Because essentially, so what LeoCache will do is it's a whole new way of indexing threads. It's a whole new database for the UI to pull threads, right? So like Mitch was just saying, he's having an issue with threads loading. The other thing is if you go to your notifications page and you scroll down to like a thread from 2 days ago and you try to reply to it, it'll say that thread is not indexed. And the reason for that is because the UI's database has some scaling issues. It's not able to go that far back in time right now. LeoCache is a whole nother layer to the back end, which will allow the UI to go back to literally the first thread that was ever created. So I don't know if you guys saw, but this morning, probably 2 hours ago or so, I posted a thread with a screenshot of the new, this is the closed alpha version of the UI where LeoCache is live and we've been testing it. And there's a new feature on my profile or on anyone's profile where you can actually sort the threads created by a user. And you can sort them by how new they are. So like you can do latest, oldest, and trending, and then you can also search through them, and it's a full text search. So if let's say that 6 months ago I made a thread saying LeoCache is going to be the best thing in the world, and you remembered that I made that thread, but you don't remember where it was and you want to find it, you can go to my profile and you can search LeoCache, and it will literally go all the way back through all the threads I've ever created, and it will show you any threads that contain that search term LeoCache, and then you can reply to them. And when you reply to them, I'll see it on my notifications and I can reply back to you, even though you're replying to a thread that I made a year ago or 6 months ago in that example. But in the screenshot I posted, you can see the first thread that was ever posted was posted from my account. And it was from a year ago. So, this new version of LeoCache, like that's just one feature set, is that it indexes all threads that were ever created, and it will keep doing so for the rest, in perpetuity. So, let's say 10 years from now, you want to go back to the first thread ever created, you have to go back 10 years in time. LeoCache will allow you to do that. The current version of the UI, you can barely go back 1 to 2 days in time. So just try to frame your mind around how much scaling that is to be able to go from, okay, right now you can reply to like 1 or 2 day old threads. And with LeoCache Live, you can reply to 1 year old or 10-year-old threads. So that's the level of scaling that it brings is ridiculous in terms of time. So like how old a thread is. It also brings a lot of scaling in terms of like real time, not like actual quantity of threads. So like right now, if we do more than like 20,000 threads a day, we'll start to hit some scaling issues. And you guys saw this, during the Zeely campaign. I think one day there was like 25,000 threads, and the UI kind of started to get slow. And like in certain places, you would wait a little bit for threads to load. LeoCache, our base estimate is that it's going to be just in the first version of the cache. It's going to be well over 100,000 threads a day in terms of scaling without any issues. But the way that LeoCache is built is that it can be layered onto. So, I think that this LeoCache that we built will allow us to scale to like multi-million threads per day. So like, 10 million threads a day in terms of scaling. So quantity is another thing. So like I said, time, quantity. Another big feature that it's bringing is, and we're launching this when we launch LeoCache to the UI, which it's going to be very soon. We're testing everything in closed alpha, and the reason for it is because everything changes with LeoCache. So, all the feeds are changing. Literally every feed is changing. Your profile feed, your home feed, your trending feed, your following feed. Every feed has to change with LeoCache. It's all rewritten. So it's a huge update. So one thing that we're launching with this version of LeoCache is going to be a For You page, a For You feed. So the home page is going to change, right? It just shows you every thread in chronological order. So like the newest threads are at the top. That latest feed is still going to be, available if you want to use it. But the default feed is going to change to a For You feed, which is actually an algorithm that we've built. So it's, much like every other social media platform that has an algorithm. Leo has its own algorithm now, thanks to LeoCache. It's actually possible to do it. And it will basically show you a mixture of like who you're following and what's getting viewed the most. It's also going to show you things that you tend to be more interested in. So like, do you tend to click more on threads that include the hashtag Hive in them? Then it's going to start to show you threads that have hashtag Hive in them a little bit higher. It's going to rank them higher on that For You feed. So you're actually going to start to see content that you want to see right when you get to the homepage, as opposed to having to like look through, all the latest feed and see all the newest threads and kind of look for what you want. So this is like an actual algorithm, and LeoCache enables that to happen because it basically completely changes the way that we database threads. So now that we have like a legit database, we can start to, allow you to full text search threads. We can allow you to, go back all the way in time. We can, do a huge quantity of threads. We can create an algorithm where it sorts threads in the database and gives them to you as an individual user. It's also going to change the following feed. The trending feed is going to get a new algorithm. So like right now, you guys probably know that the trending feed doesn't work all that well. It basically just shows you threads with the most comments, but it's not super functional. The new trending feed has an actual algorithm of like views plus engagement plus the author's reputation plus a variable for how long the thread was created, like how long ago. So like if it was 15 days ago versus 15 hours ago, it's going to rank it differently. So all that is coming. It's literally a rewrite on all the threads feeds.
Nice.
And like I said, that full text search is really, I've been using it and it's just so powerful. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna come in handy. I'm looking forward to it. Just to create clarity, because it seems like some people are still asking in the thread storm. Yes, you can post any type of content you want on LeoFinance now. There is no restrictions to finance. Obviously, quality content is appreciated and encouraged. But yeah, all topics are on the table. And I know that the UI would probably be impossible to get, but Morty dropped an awesome name because of the acronym he turned it into. So he put Alpha as a new name, and it stands for Another Leo Powerhouse App. I was like, that's pretty badass.
That's cool.
And I mean, Alpha is a great name, but I mean, shit, that domain is probably literally impossible to get.
Yeah, that
But
would be cool.
the acronym definitely puts it all together. All right, let me hit the refresh
Taskmaster
button.
asked, what's the status of Leo API and image server, which is pretty related to LeoCache. So yeah, LeoCache is going to be the next big backend update, and then we've been working on this image server, which will definitely improve. You know, one thing that's kind of annoying is like when you upload images and stuff, it kind of takes a long time, and then it's not always super reliable. Right now we use images.hive.blog, and then we also use Imgur. So we use those two. So the new image server that we're building is going to be specific for us, and it's going to work a lot faster, a lot more reliably, and just better in general. So yeah, we're working on that. It'll start to make images feel a lot more like Twitter, where it's like fast and easy to use, and images look good, stuff like that. So
I mean,
and then
heck,
Leo API is coming soon.
nice. The I mean, the image stuff just keeps getting better and better. I mean, the fact that we easily have, GIFs that we can add now without a problem. I mean, it's always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? But like, you stop thinking about like all the features that didn't exist a few months ago. I mean, hell, just even writing the recap post. Normally it was like upload the photo of, the little when button pushing cartoon. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. Insert GIF. And I put literally in the GIF, when lion. And what was it? It was a little character, but with a lion head on it, hitting the when button. And I'm like, this is going into the recap post now instead of the other one. Like much more fitting. And I don't even have to upload anything. I can just hit GIF, when, and select. Morty asked, when my communities option on communities page. I don't know.
Oh, like communities that you are a part of.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
even
we're gonna
on the
add
table,
that. Yeah, we're gonna add that to the communities page, and then we're also gonna add it to the feeds. Once LeoCache is out, we'll be able to do all this. But we're gonna have a feed where you can say my communities, and it'll actually show you like this is what I'm saying. LeoCache is just so powerful; it's gonna literally change all of our optionality for how we can sort content. But we're gonna add a my communities feed to Threads and to Longform, where you'll be able to see posts that are made in all the communities that you're a part of, in Threads as well, in one spot. So it's going to be really nice. And then yeah, we're going to add it to the communities page too. The communities page is very bland right now. We haven't added a ton of features yet. Right now you can basically just sort all the different Hive communities and then you can search through them. But you guys have seen that we've done a bunch of updates to communities so far, and we recently added threads to all the different community pages. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot. With like I said, communities is gonna be a staple feature of the UI. It's gonna be one of the number one ways to sort content and organize it.
Nice. Oh, interesting. Tokenized Society said, what is Leo planning to present at Hive Fest?
We're going to present a lot at Hive Fest. I actually did one Hive Fest presentation. I think it was like 2 years ago. It was when we did the virtual, COVID Hive Fest. I talked about all the things that Leo had done up until that point. If any of you guys remember that speech, it was, the number of things that we talked about that we had done was ridiculous. And then the number of things we talked about that we were working on was ridiculous. And we delivered, I think, on pretty much everything we talked about back in that Hive Fest presentation. Project Blank was like a distant vision. So this Hive Fest is going to be somewhat similar, where we talk about what we've done and where we're headed. But we're also going to be focused really heavily on the DHF and the marketing proposal and, onboarding users. So, everything that we've done recently, and pretty much always, but especially recently, is very well planned. Like we really lay out what we're going to do ahead of time. So you look at the marketing stuff that we're doing. There's a reason why it's going live on September 1st. Hive Fest is 20 days after that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the ground running on September 1st with all the marketing, and then by Hive Fest we want to have some really good results to show the Hive community, and show how we're actually growing the Hive user base in a significant way, just in the first 3 weeks of our, proposal. So yeah, it's at Hive Fest, we're going to talk about all the things we've done. We're going to talk about all the things we're going to do. We're also going to talk about, marketing and onboarding and, the focus of Leo going forward. Now that we've got a really good product and we keep adding to that product and making it better, the focus of getting new users for Hive is going to be, a cornerstone in that presentation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The speech is going to be really, really fun, I think, at Hive Fest. So if you're not going to be there, and you should try to be there, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of recordings.
Sweetness. All right. Well, it's just after 2. We've been going a little less than an hour, but how do you want to wrap up?
I think I think we covered. I've been just scrolling through the questions. I feel like we've covered most of them.
Yeah, we covered a lot of questions, which is good. That's why I brought it up earlier. I wanted to hit on a lot of that, along with the good updates. And yeah, I think everybody's looking forward to the launch of LeoCache, the unveiling of the new brand name, and then what else? I know the actually that's a point that was brought up. I know the help desk ticket log is I guess got a queue of things. So is there a target date to kind of get that queue cleared up, especially for those that are like, dealing with bridge refunds and crap like that?
Yeah, we've been working our way through them. Recently deployed some stuff for the Beehive BHBD stuff. So you guys saw that pretty much all those tickets got refunded. We've been pushing forward. So next big leg to take down will be all the Leo refunds and bridge updates. So making our way domino by domino.
Cool deal. It's good to hear. Gotta keep the users happy.
Yep.
Nice. All right, well,
that's
Leo,
pretty much it. We've got the weekend competition just ended. I saw a couple people ask about that. I'm sure Leo Growth will post up on a bunch of stuff about the winners and all that soon.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I got the recap post is up. It's in the Discord, and I'm dropping it in the Threadcast.
Vote the cat.
Thread, boom. Cool deal. All right, well, another exciting week of updates, and we shall see what another week brings. Short week. It's like playing a Monday night game. You only get 6 days until next Tuesday.
Yep.
That would be the 22nd.
22nd of August.
Right? Fucking time just flying. This year
really
is
though. It's really
more than half over.
Yeah, man. This year flew by.
When moon. I guess the good news is every day that passes is a day we get closer to the next crypto bull market.
One day sooner to the moon with each passing day.
Cool. All right, everybody.
Sweet.
Appreciate you joining us, and we will see you on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to vote the DHF if you have not, and be sure to poke your friends to vote if they have not.
Vote the DHF, vote the cat. You know what to do.
Get it done.
Talk about it. Make a post about the DHF.
Yes, good idea. Make posts about the DHF. I'm sure those will do well in the voting department.
100%.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, everybody. Until next
All right.
week. Later.
See you next Tuesday.